July 1916. The Great War has been tearing Europe apart for 2 long years. In the small Hungarian village of Cinkota, just outside Budapest, a heavy silence hangs over a modest cottage on the edge of town.
The tenant, a blacksmith named Béla Kiss, hasn't been seen in years. He'd volunteered for the front lines in 1914, and recently, rumors had reached the village that he had fallen in battle. With the house now legally abandoned, the landlord arrives to reclaim and repair the property. He remembers these drums. Kiss had been strangely protective of them, claiming they held precious gasoline he was hoarding in case of wartime rationing. In a world starved for fuel, the landlord sees a stroke of luck. He calls over a group of workers to help him break the seals. They expect the sharp, chemical sting of fuel. Instead, they are met with the medicinal, suffocating bite of wood alcohol. But as the vapor clears, a much darker scent lingers, cloying and organic. It's not the smell of gasoline, but the smell of a specimen jar. And as they peer inside, they don't see liquid fuel, but the pale, perfectly preserved hand of a woman reaching through the fluid. One by one, the seals are broken. 7 barrels, 7 bodies, all strangled, all preserved in spirits. Cinkota wasn't just a village anymore, it was a graveyard, and the gentleman blacksmith was no fallen hero. He was a monster. To understand how 7 women ended up in metal drums, we have to look back to 1877, the year Béla Kiss was born. By the time he moved to Cinkota in 1913, he was the picture of a successful man. Kiss was a tinsmith, a master of metal. He was intelligent, well-spoken, and remarkably successful with women. He lived a quiet life with his elderly housekeeper, Mrs. Jakobek. But Kiss lived a double life. Under the pseudonym Hoffman, he placed hundreds of advertisements in the Budapest papers. He was hunting for lonely hearts, women seeking marriage and security. Over 15 years, a revolving door of women visited his cottage. They arrived with their finest dresses, their life savings, and their dowries. And then they simply vanished. When neighbors asked, Kiss had an answer for everything. "She robbed me and left," he would say with a sigh. People pitied him. They never suspected that their friendly neighbor was using his tinsmithing skills to craft his own macabre collection. When Detective Chief Károly Nagy arrived from Budapest, he realized the 7 drums in the yard were only the beginning. His team launched a systematic search, unearthing further hidden containers from the garden and the secret corners of the house. One by one, more bodies were discovered. By the time the excavation was complete, the official count had risen to 24. Kiss hadn't just used the yard. He had turned his home into a private warehouse for the dead. In a secret room, Károly Nagy discovered a desk containing over 170 letters. Kiss was a meticulous bookkeeper of murder. But among the female victims, the police made a shocking discovery: the body of a man. Investigation revealed he was the lover of Kiss's estranged wife. It turned out that years earlier, Kiss had told neighbors she had left him for another man, but in reality he had trapped them both. This wasn't just about money, it was about a deep, pathological need for control and revenge. The village of Cinkota was standing on a mountain of secrets. The hunt was on, but Béla Kiss had a 2-year head start. He was a soldier now, lost in the chaotic machinery of the First World War. In late 1916, a report reached the police. Béla Kiss had fallen in battle. For a moment, the world thought the monster was gone, but Detective Naj was a man of logic. He checked the records and found it was a case of mistaken identity. Another soldier with the same name. Shortly after, a tip placed Kish in a Serbian hospital. The police rushed to the scene, but they were too late. In the bed assigned to Béla Kiss lay a dead soldier, a man who had succumbed to his wounds. But the identification tags around the corpse's neck belonged to Kish. He had swapped his identity with a dead man and vanished into the fog of war. In 1924, a soldier in the French Foreign Legion was recognized as Kish. Before he could be apprehended, he deserted. The gentleman of Tsinkota had become the world's most elusive ghost. The final chapter of the Béla Kiss mystery takes us across the ocean. In 1932, a New York City homicide detective named Henry Oswald was walking out of a Times Square subway station. Oswald had spent years studying the Kish case. He saw a man who matched the description perfectly. The man noticed the detective's stare, ducked into the crowd, and disappeared. Rumors persisted for years that Kish had found a new life in New York, working as a janitor or a handyman. A man who knew how to fix things, how to be invisible, and how to keep secrets. Béla Kiss was never caught. No one knows if he died in a New York basement or if he returned to Europe under another name. His story remains one of the most chilling chapters in true crime history. A man who turned metal drums into monuments of horror and then simply walked away. Was he the man in the New York subway, or did he die a soldier's death years before? Let us know your theories in the comments. And if you want to journey deeper into the dark side of history, make sure to subscribe. With the disappearance of Béla Kiss into the New York fog of 1932, one of the most enigmatic files in our history comes to a tentative close. But while this specific case ends, a deep sense of unease remains. If you have followed this story until now, you know one thing for certain. Crime in Hungary has many faces, and we at HungarianCrime.com have made it our mission to reveal them all. Perhaps this case has sparked a dark curiosity within you to learn more about the abysses this country has produced. On HungarianCrime.com, you won't find fictional entertainment, but the cold, hard reality of Hungarian criminal history. We take you away from the polished facades of Budapest, straight into the dusty dossiers of past and recent decades. Those who have already visited our platform are familiar with the stories of men like Bundy Ondiol, the legendary bandit whose name still carries a whisper of lawlessness, or the brutal reality behind the figure of Sándor Rózsa, who walked the razor's edge between folk heroism and ice-cold criminality. But HungarianCrime.com offers much more than just historical retrospectives. Our archive covers a vast spectrum, from the bizarre outgrowths of crime during the Austro-Hungarian Empire to the harrowing cases of the more recent past that have shaken Hungarian society to its core. We analyze patterns, shed light on backgrounds, and reconstruct crime scenes, always with the aim of providing the context you will never find in the shallow headlines of standard news platforms. The next time you walk through Budapest, you will see the city with different eyes. You will pass the old apartment buildings and wonder not just who lives there today, but who left their mark there 50 or 100 years ago. The shadows of the past are omnipresent in Budapest. They linger in the archways of the Jewish quarter, in the dark corners of the city park, and in the anonymous stairwells of the outer districts. We invite you to continue your own investigation on HungarianCrime.com. Browse through our detailed articles, compare the methods of perpetrators across different eras, and become part of a community that refuses to settle for the surface level. There are so many stories still waiting to be told. Cases just as eerie, just as complex, and just as real as that of Béla Kiss. The hunt for the truth is a process without end. Subscribe to this channel so you don't miss any of our upcoming documentaries, and visit us at HungarianCrime.com to dive deeper into the darkness. We dig where others stop. Stay vigilant, stay curious, and in the alleys of Budapest, never lose sight of your shadow. We'll see you in the next case on HungarianCrime.com.